I brought Murshid's robe along today just so I wanted to bring Murshid with me, and in this way to be present with us in this beginning of this program. And I feel different about doing a class like this that has an ongoing scope to it than just coming in and presenting teachings and leaving people, because we're really going to be able to have a continuity about our practice. And one of the things that I really am praying for, well, when you get the practice assignments, and we'll go over these probably tonight, but I said here at the beginning, what does it mean to be part of the Sangha, the group attunement that we're creating at the beginning of this program of classes? This is my prayer for what it will mean to all of us, myself included. May we wholeheartedly agree to study and to take to heart the written materials assigned and engage in the teachings and practices on a daily basis, as well as in the midst of everyday life. When we forget, may that forgetfulness simply remind us to remember to re-engage with our practice without self-recrimination. May we breathe a breath of unity and support for all who undertake this journey. I mean, I'm dedicating myself to do the practices together with everyone, to really give a super concentration to this subject of breath. Now, breath doesn't exist in exclusion of anything else. It is the vehicle for our awakening to many different realms, and to it's a vehicle of connection between the inner and the outer world. It's a vehicle of connection between planes of vibration. It is an oracle. It's all these things, but only if you learn how to use it. Only if you develop it, and you can only develop it. It's not simply a mechanical thing that is involved in the development of the breath. And so I decided to approach this study beginning with some of the teachings of Murshid Samuel Lewis in the Githas on Dhyana, meditation. And I've been teaching from these in the Saluk program also, but this, I've just taken what really bears into this, and at the very beginning, he says, toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. The first thing that is necessary in meditation is to realize it is an act of attunement, an attunement with God. Therefore, while it is necessary to relax, while it is important to control the emotions and the functions of mind and body, it is also important to raise, so to speak, the pitch of the heart, so that this attunement can be accomplished. Now, this is a gigantic thing to realize. We're sitting here, we're watching the breath, we're calming down, we're entering into peacefulness. All these things are happening almost mechanically, and yet, where is our heart? What pitch is our heart at? Is it dull? Is it awake? Is it really present? Imagine, for example, that Pure Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan came in the room and was going to offer you teachings at this point, just where your attention would be, where your your awakening to the presence of what is present in this moment would be. You know, you would be, you'd bring your heart, your awareness up to a certain kind of pitch, you know, because it responds to conditions in that way. It responds to our ideal, to our to what we are most attuned to, what we're most attracted to, what we're most in love with. And so that's why this raising of the pitch of the heart allows us to begin to use the breath and to use this process of meditation, using the breath to connect with the God reality. This is the whole of the inner methodology of the Sufi path, in a nutshell, is that we use this loving connection with the source as the vehicle of our growth. And we continue to imagine and have our notion and our feeling for what God is evolving along with our own development of our inner consciousness and feeling and heart nature. So this is this creation of the God ideal is the first teachings that Hazrat Nayaz Khan gives, because he's trying to get people to let go of the conceptual structure that we have inherited from just, you know, the things in which the concepts that we have about God. God is this judge, he's this stern father, I mean, and my relationship with God, however it was shaped, you know, I mean, Nayaz Khan says we all surrender to beauty willingly and to power unwillingly. And so we need to find, what is it in God that we find beautiful? We can respect that judge, that lawgiver, that and have a obey, but we loving surrender. To Thee do we give loving surrender. To Thee, we want to become like You. I want to share in the perfections of Your being. You know, I feel my limitations. I want to draw close. I mean, this desire to draw close, the flute at the beginning of the Levi of the Mevlana's Masnavi, detached from the source, calling out throughout every atom of its life to return to that non-separation with the source, and all of that music is that loving calling out toward unity. So this is, we want to find that place in us where we can awaken this kind of desire and for God, for attuning to the one who we can at least imagine is beautiful and perfect and has all these qualities. And the more we begin to imagine them, amazingly, they become active in us, because we're not separated from them in truth, only in our experience. So Murshid goes on to say sympathy means an attunement. So we got to find the place where our heart will naturally sympathize. Sympathy means attunement, a feeling with. But there's a negative way and a positive way of sympathizing. In the negative way, one feels the suffering, the pathos, the pain, and unites in grief, but does not necessarily bring much help. In the positive way, one raises the other from sorrow, one is able to give them their better condition without taking on the lower condition. This is true healing. This is the reason why one must repeat toward the One so much during the healing service and gradually attune oneself to the divine rays which are health-giving. But this is not only so in healing, but in all forms of inspiration, in poetry, music, art, and invention, and all things of the creative process. The more one meditates, the more one rises to the essence of things, becoming a vehicle for divine expression. There, every aspect of life becomes an art and a science. One going to their meditation feeling, God is my teacher, I have something to learn, I will listen attentively, will be rewarded with the greatest blessing, receiving in the silence and meditation that which they are capable of understanding, and by this gradually their purpose of life will be unfolded. So it's in the establishing of this link of sympathy that allows, and the quickening of the pitch of the heart that gives the breath a greater scope to operate. And as we become aware of the potential in the breath, we honor the presence of God that is in us in the breath. The very name Allah in many renditions of interpretation means the one breath. Just imagine that for a moment. The one breath breathed into all livingness, which we are all alive in that one breath. So we're alive in that one breath, but how much of it are we experiencing? Maybe no more than right here around this body. Maybe there are certain vistas of it and our imagination opens to them. But imagine a human being that is fully aware of the breath, the spirit, the divine spirit moving in each and every person. That would be a fully God-realized being. And this is what the Sufis called Jesus, is Ruh Allah, the one who is totally realized of the breath, of the soul, of the spirit of God. And what does he say? He says, I am the vine, and ye are the branches thereof. Imagine this vine to be all the connections of breath that there are among all living beings. Even the rocks are breathing in their way. The plants are definitely breathing. They're breathing out what we breathe in, and they're breathing in what we breathe out. Having that awareness of all, knowing the soul in each person is sacred, and saying, I am the vine and ye are the branches thereof. So this is for Murshid Sam, and for many of us, this has become the key to the whole process of uniting with the illuminated souls. Again, the suggestion here is, if you can find this breath of the Holy Spirit, this Ruh Allah, it's right present, embodied in Christ consciousness, whose embodiment is an illuminated soul that is available to us, and we experience ourselves as a part of that, and then we gradually understand that what it means is that there is only the one tree, only the one breath, and we overcome our separation because of that. But in order to get to there, you can say the breath does that, or you can say the heart does that, or you can say our understanding does that. But the breath is the lever that we can control most efficiently. We have a handle on it that we can use, and that's all that it means. That makes it special. I want to read just a little more from some of the lessons here of Hazrat Inayat Khan. In the Githas on esotericism, Ryazat. The breath is the current which is established between all planes of man's existence. Its current runs from the life unseen to the life on the surface, thus uniting spirit and matter both. When the breath leaves the material being of man, then comes what man calls death, which shows that breath is the sign of life and life itself, and its contact with the body keeps the body alive, and its contact with the mind keeps the mind alive, but neither body nor mind are life. If there is any sign of life we can trace on the surface, it is no other than the breath. Therefore, Sufis take the breath as the means of getting what they want from the life unseen to the life on the surface. Also, they make it a means of sending what they wish from the life external to the life within. The breath may be considered as a lift that can take you to any floor up and any floor down. By the help of breath, you can send your thought anywhere and to any plane and bring about desired results. In breath abides all the mystery there is. The Sufi's object being self-realization by the ideal of God. There, that's, once again, he comes right down to it. The Sufi's object being self-realization by the ideal of God. Working with this idea of God. We imagine God's perfections, and as we're doing so, God is imagining our perfections. By the help of the breath, you can send your thought anywhere and to any plane and bring about desired results. In breath abides all the mystery there is. The Sufi's object being self-realization by the ideal of God, they work for its attainment by the means of the breath, which they call fikr, and an ideal so attained becomes their property, their kingdom, forever. So this is telling us what the breath can do, but not necessarily how. But so it has this grand scale. So what is it that we can do with the breath to begin its journey towards its fulfillment of what we can experience with it in our life? Murshid. I'm going to read this next one, and then I'm going to go back to what Murshid says, and then we're going to do a practice. Rhythm and fikr. Rhythm is the nature of motion, and motion is the nature of life. Life is not possible without motion, and motion is not possible without rhythm. It is rhythmic motion which keeps the whole universe going, and the same motion is the hidden secret of our lives. As we are a miniature universe within ourselves. We are a miniature universe within ourselves, and rhythm is the secret of it. Our breath is both the cause and effect of this rhythmic motion. Murshid Sam says, I am that I am Eya Asher Eya can be just as well translated, the eternal movement of the one and only being. The eternal movement of the one and only being. And if one feels the sway of this eternal movement of the one and only being in your breath, then you begin to express that in your life, and you draw from it. We are a miniature universe within ourselves. Inhaling and exhaling is like the pendulum of the clock. When it is regular, the clock goes on regularly. When slow, the clock goes slow. When quick, the clock goes fast. So it is with us. When our breath is rhythmic, all things go well. The mechanism of our body, the working of our mind, and the work of our feelings all are normal. Rhythm is not necessarily something that is exciting for people to think about. But when I wanted to come into this project of development with everyone here, I thought, let's just go to the most important things at the beginning, and establish a very strong foundation, and do like Murshid says, to begin practicing every day, throughout the day. And it's not like it's an onerous thing. Our breath is with us all the time. So it's becoming more attentive to it, becoming more aware of how we can affect it in different situations as well, and how we can use it to learn and to find the rhythm that's right. But we need to establish a rhythm. And I'm going to go right away to offer this practice that we'll do here for about 5 minutes or so, but I'm going to introduce it first. Allow yourself to breathe naturally. That's where you start. Notice the rhythm of the breath that you have right now. Not trying to change it. Notice that rhythm and consciously maintain this rhythm for a while. So begin doing that. Gradually allow the breath to become longer and more refined, and become aware of the small natural pause at the top and bottom of the breath. Don't force this, but encourage it. Once you've established a rhythm and you've brought your full attention to your breath, it naturally begins to want to become longer and more refined, retaining a rhythm. Now, as your breath begins to become longer and more refined and you retain your full attention on it, begin to feel the magnetism that is carried by the breath, the prana, the current, the electricity, the livingness. You're drawing from the all-pervading life in space. The all-pervading life in space. Your breath naturally draws this life force, this prana, as it becomes long and refined and rhythmical. Notice the direct connection between the ease and refinement of the breath and this magnetism. Center your awareness in the heart, in the middle of the chest, and consciously bring the magnetism into the heart as you inhale and radiate it as you exhale. So becoming aware of this magnetism, this prana, feel it coalescing in and out of the heart. Place your breath in the heart. Let it draw from the all-pervading life in space. Feel this magnetism being drawn into the heart, radiating as you exhale. And then call this feeling forth as all love and desire. And then find the one love, the God's love that is the tent peg of all that desire. The one desire behind all desires, the desire for wholeness, to overcome separation, to become one with the beloved. Using the rhythm that has been established in your breath, you begin slowly intoning in your thought, Allah, Allah. Or if you prefer, toward the one you can put the most feeling into. So that the repetition takes the full length of the breath, letting it naturally fill the heart and breath with the joy of the divine presence and the longing for unity with the one. As you proceed in the practice, stay attentive to the flow of the breath, long, refined, and rhythmical. If it begins to stray from this, gently bring it back. Now I'm going to join you in the meditation. And we'll continue for another few minutes here. Leave nothing out of that longing. Quicken the heart into it. Notice your breath. Has it changed? Do you need it to refine it more? Make it longer, more attentive? Just is it naturally doing this? So this is kind of a core practice I'm going to ask people to work with, and I'll develop it a little further. We're going to use a wazifa for focus beforehand to bring our heart into a pitch of awareness, and the wazifa we'll use is Ya Raqib, which draws concentration to a focus through the evocation of loving interest. Let's just do that 33 times now, just to put it in the atmosphere, and then we're going to. Then I'll take a few questions if there are any that came up around just the practices that we've done at this point, and then we'll take a short break. So here, I can't figure out how these work. Yeah, these I know how they work, okay. Ya Raqib. Ya Raqib. In the heart. Ya Raqib in the heart. Ya Raqib. Ya Raqib. Sharpen it. Ya Raqib. Ya Raqib. Ya Raqib. Ya Raqib. Ya Raqib. Ya Raqib, 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 Ya Raqib. Just take a minute breathing toward the one in the sense of becoming fully present, heart awake, present with this breath, this moment, nothing outside of it. Bring forth our intention that we have this loving concentration, this quality of God given to us so that we can proceed in a good way with our practice. I mean, out of this, the one and only being is what we're going to work with in some aspects of our concentration on the Sufi invocation, which Murshid Sam felt was a most important tool for working with the breath. And also, and I'll say this now and probably again, when you begin becoming more aware of the breath and your breath becomes more sensitive and receptive, and you're taking in a lot more from your external atmosphere, then you may come into situations where you are you feel bombarded by it. You know, it's confusing, it's troubling, it's more than you want to handle, and the first practice Murshid gives for self-protection is this very first stage of the breathing toward the one, where you claim you are this breath, you coming in and out. You just place all the focus of your awareness in the rising and falling of that breath, and when you do that, then all these other things outside of you don't impact you. And you can, from that place, like we did at the very beginning when we started out, we established awareness of our breath. We gradually felt it encompass the room and the people in the room, and then we extended it from a place of oneness, just kind of like the expansion of a dot, into an unlimited circle that keeps the circumference of which is infinite. It just keeps going on. And that is the ahad, is the dot, and the samad is the ongoingness that just keeps on going of that infinite oneness. This is another way of getting into it. I'm beginning to walk, doing the walk of the Hara center, but I'm going to convey that later to people. But you can always, breathing right just below the navel, couple finger widths. Start just seeing if you can, like, you place your nostrils there, place your sense of don't try to do anything more than being fully present right in that center, but notice that it does, you want to have a rhythm in your breath, like 4 counts as you inhale, 4 as you exhale. you notice there's a resonance. Every time you step, it kind of vibrates in that Hara center. You can bring your full awareness to there. You can use that as a way, like a magnet, to draw all of your physical energy right into that place. This is very good for your body. We're just walking, being aware of our Hara center, the center in the belly, below the navel. Drawing the magnetism into a oneness here, feeling your physical body really rejuvenated from the attention of not leaking energy, taking it all in. How's the cue doing over there? All right? One more, okay. So let's make one big circle now. And continue to breathe here in the Hara center. Claim this. You can drop hands. So feel your whole magnetic field of your body integrated here as you're breathing in. Breathing in the Hara center, claiming all this energy as a oneness right here in your body. I'm going to demonstrate the walk. What I'm asking you to do is, as I'm walking, you continue, and as one or two others walk, you continue to breathe in this way, and see if you can relate from here to here, if you can kind of catch the atmosphere. You have to catch it because I'm not giving anything away. It's like the guru and the Zen teacher. The guru says, you got an itch, come over here and I'll scratch it. And the Zen teacher says, scratch it yourself. This is, Murshid said, a lot of Zen teachers he knew walked just like this. No mental baggage, claiming the space, just very physically and magnetically. We have two people doing this with me that feel confident to come forth. And notice, support them. From your Hara center, you support them in their walk. This is good. Just let it be in your body. Don't let it be in your mind. You're getting it now. So you just feel it in your body and come down there and do it. Yeah. Don't worry about imitating the fact that I put this kind of arm movement in. But that's just me. If that's natural for you, fine. But if you want to work like this, that's fine. Okay, let's have two more people. That's good. Okay, you still have some energy up in your head. Bring it all down there into the navel center. I think we can have one more. I think we can do 3 at a time here. We want to bring our body with us in this practice. We want to make sure that all the lower centers, all the energy that is grosser is made part of this oneness of your manifestation. It's not left out. It's all included as part of your life force. Now you're very much up here. Bring all this beautiful concentration all the way here, and just open your eyes and claim the space and be really present here in your body, walking. I feel bringing more down, more. I feel more life in the body, more magnetism coming out through your physical body. You can just kind of let go and be. Okay, that's the idea. Now just you don't have to try. Just let it be. The breath is going to do it for you. Dial back some of the effort and just let. Good. Can you feel when people have it more and less, and you can just kind of connect with that? How do you do that? How do you do that? See, it's something you intuitively know how to do with your breath and your feeling of empathy, of attunement, of sympathy. That's good, Sundar. Good. That's okay, Shakra. You can go. Go ahead. You go. It's coming more into the space. As the more we do it, the more we attract this very attunement into the space.
This is so hard.
Let's do it together. Let's do it together. Just match with me. Come on in. It's good for Dilly. She's really concentrated. You can really feel how she's pulled it all together. That's much, much better. A few more people. It's very good to Waba, very steady, self-contained, magnetic. Your body knows what to do. Just let go. Just let it go. And just come, become right. Just claim your space. Come on. Walk with me. It's coming from you. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. It's better. You take your own rhythm, but establish it and claim it really strong in the body. Okay, but do it now without looking down. Someone else ready to try this? Hasn't tried it or wants to step back in for a moment? Good. Yeah. Okay, any questions about this practice? This is something it may be easy for you, may be difficult for you, but it's something that you should have in your repertoire. Something that you could call on when you need to be able to pull your energy together in a physical way for good health and for stability and strength and in the midst of the vibrations of life, and not to leak energy and not to be so knocked around by events. Just to know that you can call on this kind of strength, and it's right inside of you, and your breath, your attunement with it, your memory of doing it. You know, it comes back. It resonates. That you can use it.
But if you're thinking too much, I think a lot.
You think a lot, yeah. But then this helps you overcome that, by putting, if you bring your mind interest to your belly, to this place, to your breath. If you can bring your interest to it, this center will begin to claim some of that stuff that's going on in your head, and you'll feel the difference right in your body. And a number of people, have this beautiful quality of being able to go up into their head centers. But we want to be able to claim this ground floor here. Yes.
So I was putting toward the one on the breath with that.
Yeah. It's always okay to use toward the one as a way of remembering to become one-pointed. If that helps you, fine. If it just helps you to just say, okay, become one-pointed, that's good enough too, yes.
I notice when in a large crowd I'm getting buffeted about, I start doing Malika, Malika, Mulk, and I put it right in here, and it really works.
I'd like to return to the words of Sufi Ahmed Murad Chishti, Murshid Samuel Lewis, in these Githas on Dhyana and meditation is the translation of Dhyana. When the breath is kept in rhythm and is refined, again coming back and hammering on the basics here. When the breath is kept in rhythm and refined, the magnetism which is ordinarily consumed in the activities of mind and body is preserved. So this is tremendously in your self-interest to do this, to keep your breath in rhythm and to refine it, and to notice in the course of your activities throughout the day the condition of your breath, just from the standpoint of rhythm. Am I holding my breath in these situations? Is my rhythm really fast? Is it core? Is the breath coarse? If I'm running, there are different states, but checking in. And then as soon as you check in, to establish a rhythm, to pay attention to the rhythm that's there and just let that establish that. And then to refine it and to begin to feel how this life that is in space, this magnetism, this livingness, this is part of our body. It's one of our bodies. In the Hindu teachings, in the Upanishads, it's after the body of food, we have this body of magnetism, of prana. It contains the body of food. It's bigger, it contains it. But it's right there. And that's just where we live. In other words, what we can accumulate. There's a body of prana that is boundless and infinite, that is in space itself, from the pure potential in space that we can draw, and that we want to focus on in a variety of ways. I'm going to give the the practices from a variation, one of the versions of the 20 purification breaths, but the emphasis is on the prayer. The emphasis is not on adding a lot of concentrations to the breath while you're doing it, but just to keep the simple flow of the breath in on Ya Shafi, a nice long inner breath in through the nose and out through the nose, Ya Kafi. And you do that 5 times, and you feel throughout, whatever you're doing, you're feeling the purification by taking the breath in all these different ways, in through the nose and out through the mouth 5 times, in through the mouth and out through the nose 5 times, in through the mouth and out through the mouth 5 times, making 20 breaths in all. You go through all the different possibility or combinations of inhalation and exhalation, and the stream of breath generally should be refined. And you should be very aware of what we say in the prayer afterwards, which is, Beloved Lord, Almighty God, through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through thy all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify me, and I pray, heal my body, heart, and soul. So what are the 3 vehicles that are mentioned here? The rays of the sun, to really consciously, through the course of the day, connect with the rays of the sun in your breath, and to feel that the purifying quality of them. The waves of the air, which is, you say, where the Bible puts it this way, the Spirit moveth wherever it listeth. And then you say, what does that mean? Well, I mean, at the most material level, you could say the wind blows wherever it likes, but that connection of with the flow of the currents of air, I mean, you ever been just totally befuddled, and you go out on some crisp day and you just let the air blow right through you and take everything away? It is quite healing. And we can acknowledge there's movement in it. There's that sense of blowing through you. And then the all-pervading life in space. How do you connect with that all-pervading life in space? That's what we want to find. They want to find that first by refining the breath, by putting it in rhythm, by being at ease around the process, by just becoming at one with it, and then beginning to feel the magnetism growing in your being. But we're going to do right now the 20 purification breaths and say the prayer, just because having put it in the atmosphere, I think it's important to do it as a practice. It will be a practice that we're asked to do over the course of the next period. And that is to do the 20 purification breaths, which many of you already do, and to do the prayer, but to really focus on these 3 avenues of purification of body, heal my body, heart, and soul. I asked Murshid once, how can the soul be healed? It's already perfect. He said, yeah, but it gets covered over, and it gets tired and deadened in its container, and it can't get to the surface. It's covered over. So healing of the soul is to bring light, to open up the areas that's covering it over, and let it, because it reflects within also itself all of the difficulties of life. And which reminds me of something I marked here in from the Githas of Hazrat Nag Khan that I'd like to just interpose at this point. Yeah, he's talking about, and I'm not going to read through all these things, but I didn't provide very many of them for you, and I hope you really will study them, because there's something here at this stage that we're going through. But this I wanted to emphasize. He's talking about the effect of inhalation and exhalation on our consciousness. Urouj is the inhalation, and Nasoul is the exhalation. Inhaling is called Urouj, and exhaling is called Nasoul, and each has its particular part in the life of an individual. Breath is life, and its work is to take the condition from within to the external plane, and to take the conditions of the external plane into one's inner being. When one exhales, the condition of the inner plane is brought out, and when one inhales, the condition of the external plane is taken in. But this is the thing I emphasized that I wanted us to get. When exhaling, the harmony or inharmony of the soul is brought out. Its influence first working on one's mind, and then on the body, and then on the surroundings. So you can see, I mean, we can be sensitive to and feel the harmony or inharmony of the condition of our soul, because our soul, in the way we understand it, is that ray of God that is individuated in us. And so we need to come to understand it. In our individuation process, all sorts of things have happened. We've formed an image of ourselves. This, what an icon calls the false self, the concept that stands for us and is often made out of a lot of our traumas and suffering that we construct a view of self, maybe of being unworthy, or maybe of being, justly angry, or whatever it is. This is something that our meditation, our work needs to take us through. And here's a real interesting way to access it. Noticing how when you're reflecting on the breath now, and what you're noticing, and what I hope you're going to journal about it, are the different kinds of levels of experience that you have with it in different circumstances. Not just when you're sitting down and doing your practice, but in the course of events and circumstances of your day. And you're feeling how the condition of the inner plane is brought out when you exhale. I mean, just look at your inner state right now, whatever it is, whatever level of ease or dis-ease we're in, and as we exhale, aren't we just expressing what is up in a certain way, what's inside of us? And at the deepest level, the condition of our soul is radiating through that breath and expressing whether it's in harmony or disharmony with itself at this juncture, or to whatever degree of it we're experiencing. When exhaling, the harmony or inharmony of the soul is brought out. Its influence first works on the mind, then on the body, and then on surroundings. When inhaling, the condition of the external plane, harmony or inharmony, are drawn into the body, and then into the mind, and then into the soul, which sets the soul either in calmness or in disturbance. We look at the news, sometimes we take in those impressions, and our soul gets disturbed. It's not unusual to have to be disturbed by what you allow in, and by the the tragedy that's in your face this week in this world in which everything is already in your face all the time. But what we're not learning is how do we deal with it. What happens? I mean, when we get hit by it all the time, and we have no way of dealing with it, we just become either inured to it, and it just becomes something that's outside of us that we're viewing in a very detached way, or but it's still poisoning us in various ways. So we need to learn mastery of breath, and in this kind of way allows us to begin. So then if you notice, and if you can go to that place of the beauty of what the soul truly is, that you're learning and knowing in its essence, this is allows you to do this kind of purification and clearing and allowing it to come forth. So when these external conditions, harmony or inharmony, are drawn into the body and into the mind and into the soul, it sets the soul either in calmness or in disturbance. You go to a place that's beautiful and your soul feels very tranquil, and you go to a place that's agitated. But this is, okay, what happens if you have some mastery and you go to a place where it's very agitated? Then the first level you can learn how to protect yourself so that you don't take in more than you need, and so that you can function there without being overwhelmed by what's going on. That's the first level of dealing with it. And then, if you have a kind of an equilibrium in your breath, where you now have a rhythm and you have a place where you're at ease, because you're self-contained within this, in the midst of this external thing that is going on, then from there you can develop an inner seeing and discernment about what the cause of pain is in this situation, what the cause of disharmony is. Now you're an active force to try and bring harmony into a situation, or to be an agent for easing the disharmony in a situation, because you're not yourself, haven't taken on. And Murshid talked earlier about these two kinds of empathy, the one where you just take it on like a sponge and you're there with it, and the other where you can feel it and yet you have this essence which is intact and not agitated by it. And if you can achieve that, then you can bring peace. You can be a bringer of peace. You can go into very difficult situations and find a way to be a force of healing and carry yourself in a way that is authentic. So, I mean, all these things are possible if we just apply ourselves in some quite simple ways. But the key is to keep doing it, to keep remembering, to keep doing it all the time. All the time remembering throughout the day. Check in. Look into this indwelling presence that is in the breath, and notice how conditions are affecting you, and whether you need to put up a kind of a way of protecting yourself by breathing toward the one in the way that I described as that first stage of, or whether you are unconsciously in the midst of doing some simple activity, holding your breath, and why, and just to try and maintain. Just to set yourself the simple goal of maintaining a rhythm in the midst of some activity where you're resisting doing it can be a tremendous learning situation. To begin right there at the level of rhythmic breathing, which becomes automatic over time. And when it's not there, you self-correct. Now I want to go back to to what I wanted to do in the beginning from Murshid Sam. And we'll go back over here. When the breath is kept in rhythm and is refined, the magnetism which is ordinarily consumed in the activities of mind and body is preserved. There should be a balance between meditation and activity. If this is continued, one will find one's meditation even in one's everyday life, if there's a balance. And that's why, even though it's tempting just to sit here and to do practice, we try and alternate between some activity and some repose here, because we want to take this into our everyday experience and not just be able to access it when we are totally inward. One can never meditate too much, Murshid says. But this does not mean going into one's closet. It means keeping the heart fixed on God, to keep the mind fixed on the invocation every moment, day and night, so the very breath will keep on calling toward the One. That's something to remember. If we have that as a place in us where our heart is fixed on the beloved, on God, on our ideal, on the oneness as we get it, and our mind is fixed on our thoughts, our intention is fixed on the invocation, meaning toward the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, all the qualities. The only being. I'm not separate from it. If there's something in me having being, then that's the only thing that exists, only I'm only aware of a part of it. So, but I'm part of the only being. The only being must be expressing itself through me. That is an amazing thought. To understand God sees through you, suffers through you, feels through you, awakens through you, decides to give everything up, and again and again in order to serve you in different forms. One can never meditate too much. This does not mean going into one's closet, but it means keeping the heart fixed on God, to keep the mind fixed on the invocation every moment, day and night, so the very breath will keep on calling towards the One. Then the hour will arrive sometime when the talib, which means the spiritual student, will realize their true being. And what is that true being? It is God, the only being. Let's do, before I go on to the next meditation here, let's do a meditation on this. I want to do a version of the Sufi invocation as a contemplation in this way. As we exhale, we're going to take the thought toward the One and let go into the oneness that is all-pervading. Let go of our sense of self, be melting snow, die. This is how I would die into the love I have for you. Give it up, melt into the oneness as you exhale, and you're breathing toward the One in that sense of becoming more open to receive this oneness, to merge with it. And then as you inhale the only being, and you feel the individuation, the dot of your being as nothing but the only being. And so you're part of that, and you have to find a way of taking that in, because even if you reject it, you're part of it, but just in a more unconscious way. So here we're trying to make it more conscious, because at at the heart and soul of this process of working with the breath and having some attainment in meditation is this process of doing this connection with Source. So here we go. Exhaling toward the One, into the oneness, inhaling the only being, making it a long breath, long and refined. Let's form a circle. Let's have a musician in the center. I'm going to do what Murshid often did. If you get into too refined a state, bring it down into the body really strongly. We're going to, I think we can, let's do this, try 2 circles here. Come on in. We're going to do the Hayy Haqq dance. Hayy, the ever-living, Haqq, the ground of all truth and reality, the boundless being. Okay. Cycle of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze in toward the middle and squeeze out toward and stretch out towards the end of the room. That way we can do this. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hayy. Hayy, 2, 3, 4. Hayy, Haqq. Hayy, Haqq. Hayy, Haqq.